So this is a constant refocusing, reshifting throughout your day. When you and I say that we practice this balancing technique in our lives every day, we're literally living this every single day. It is something we are very, very meticulous about catching ourselves if we're in mind and bringing ourselves back to the present moment. So much so that this is just how we live now. It's now our reality. And I'll give an example from this morning. I was driving to drop something off at the vet. The vet was about 35 minutes away from me. And in the morning, I could be a little bit like just in mind, left over from dreams that have sort of come into my head. And I really made a conscious effort to shift from this sort of low vibration that I was feeling, waking up, and raising my vibration. I was very intentional about, I want my vibration raised. I don't want to be in the lower scales. I want to come up to a place of neutrality. And so the drive there, I made sure I put on music that resonated with bringing my vibration up. If the songs didn't resonate with that, I switched them immediately and I refocused on coming back to now and just really like sitting with the energy to get to that higher vibration. That's sort of how it felt. In reality, it looked like this. As soon as I would then touch the mind, because when I was waking up, that's sort of the mode that mind is in. It's bringing up like fears and worries. I would touch it and say, that's not going on right now. That's the story. I'm going to come back to present. And sometimes it's 10 seconds later, it'll do the same thing. It'll go back into the story. I then catch it. This is a story. I'm going to come back to soul. I'm going to come back to present. And it's just like, it's like this habitual practice now. But that's literally what you have to do to be mindful and to be aware that the mind is trying to always sneak in to your present moment. No matter how present you are, the mind is there trying to insert itself, insert its judgments, insert its worries into whatever moment is unfolding in front of you. And you have to be the one that says, I'm going to be intentional about recognizing when I see my mind is making a judgment on something or someone. And I'm going to bring it back to now and I'm going to release the judgment. I'm going to bless the judgment. I'm going to bless the situation that mind doesn't like, and I'm going to send it off with love. So here's an example so that you guys could sort of know how I deal with all of this in my daily life. Okay, so vacations. How was I on vacations when I used to be in mind versus now when I'm in soul, when I'm present? When I would be in vacation, when I was in mind, I would go and I was consumed with worry. Where can I eat? I was really, really worried about like which places would be hygienic if I was on trips abroad, right? My mind would go really fear mode with restaurants. That was my thing. So I'd plan way in advance. I would be planning months in advance on even the restaurants we would go to. And I would be so focused on like just everything that was future based on our travels. Is it going to work out? Are we going to get the right train? What if this closes and we're not there in time? What if there was a lot of what if? Versus now when I'm in soul, I am just being. So what does that look like? I don't care if it closes. I know my soul's got me. We'll see where else is open. I'm going to just surrender. There's a lot of surrender that goes into aligning with soul. There has to be. You have to be able to surrender to what is going on in front of you that is out of what mind had planned for, and you surrender to what is actually unfolding and you release it. So, for example, and this is a common one. So for me, I drive to the airport to pick up my daughters and drop my daughters off a lot. They go back to Arizona and visit their father. And the way the airport is set up by me, there's two terminals, and a lot of times the terminal my kids leave out of is closed as far as the parking lot, and I have to then drive to the other terminal, catch a shuttle, and it's this whole ordeal because there's shortage of workers, and it just takes forever. So my mind starts playing early on because I always take my daughters on the earliest flight, so we're always there at like 3 a.m. My mind starts fearing, what if we can't park in the right terminal? What if I have to go at 3 a.m. with my daughters and we have to find a shuttle? And now when I drive and I'm very, very present, I just say, whatever's supposed to unfold will unfold. And wherever I find a parking spot, I'll find a parking spot. And if we have to take a shuttle, we take a shuttle. And I'm going to let go of mind judgment of what has to happen. And I'm going to surrender to what happens. I'm just going to be present in whatever happens, and I'm not going to judge it. And that's really sort of the self-talk that I do. I'm not going to judge what's going on and what happens and how it unfolds. I'm going to let go of the judgment, because judgment is from mind. Another tip I would say is don't make plans way ahead of time. And I was just having a conversation with my sister the other day. My sister made plans a few weeks in advance for a party. And by the time the day of the party came, she was like, I really don't want to go to this party. And I said, then don't go. I told her, I said, I don't really make plans in advance anymore because I don't know how I'm going to feel on that day to go somewhere. Why would I commit myself if I don't know if I'm going to be present and in soul the moment or the day that this event comes? And I'm very, very intentional with how I spend my energy. And so I do not make plans way in advance anymore, because I want to make sure that every choice I make, every occasion I celebrate, everything I do, every interaction I have is from the present moment and is one where I'm vibrating in a level that I want to be at that party with. So I'm very intentional with plan making. And so these are sort of the ways you implement embracing the present moment in your everyday life. There's a lot of surrender. There's a lot of habitual mind, or talking to the mind and saying, I'm not the mind, I am soul, and bringing yourself back to now. So there's a lot of this practice that you're just doing all the time, where it becomes second nature to be able to spot the mind, because all you're really aiming for is the awareness that you're not the mind, that you're the one observing it. So when you get to this place of, man, I'm aware that my mind is chattering all day, that's you being aware. That's you being aligned with soul. Even though it feels like you're still sort of engaging with mind, you're actually observing the mind at that point. You are identifying that you're not the mind. You are allowing the moments in front of you to unfold without judgment. You are surrendering to the now moment. And when things come up that mind is not happy about, you trust. You surrender and trust. And that's my best advice for how do you live in a 3D world that aligned with soul. And I'm going to tell you right now, doing all of that is what makes my permanent relating experience one that is truly at peace, because I can be so present and I can be in a place where his moods don't touch me. If he's in his mood, before I would get really in mind and try to fix it. Now I just allow what's coming and know that it's not to do with me. It just is. And I don't judge it. And I release whatever energy he's trying, whatever he's spilling over. I don't let it touch me. I don't allow anybody else's energy to touch me anymore. I come back to me, I focus on me, and I bring it back to now.
And this practice, Lev, it just came to me while you were talking just now. The practice of bringing yourself back to the moment that's unfolding. When we were doing them before, it was just to make us feel better, because let's get real, this journey is all so consuming. And if your person's not right in front of you all day, every day, it's like, when's he going to reach out? When's he going to come forward? When's he going to text me again? When what's in front of you is the most sacred moment. And you'll find when you're present and you're just okay with what's in front of you, even though the mind's freaking out and it wants and needs your person, you realize that you are preserving every moment that's unfolding naturally, because you woke up to this journey and you realized your soul. And there's just no other way. I can't even imagine living life through mind again. I really can't. I know how it feels when I take it in, because my body will show me and I can feel it, and it just does not feel like peace, love, joy, right? That energy of natural state of who we are. And then all the fears come in, all of the doubts, all of the insecurities, all of the past and future comes in, and we become separated from all of it again. And then you realign back to soul, and now you just feel so one. You feel at peace. And this is that energy where your person can meet you. But it's the mind. And that just came to me. Your mind doesn't want you to be with your person. It doesn't. Because every time the mind kicks in about your person, it's to serve you to stay in that separation consciousness, to be in mind. So when you actually are with your person, anytime, whether it's a text, it's a message, you see them in front of you, all those things you practiced when you were separated had to have been experienced this level up energy where you're in now, where you can talk to them and you're looking at their beard. I had to have gotten to that place before on my own to just be present with whatever's in front of me, where my fountains were around me. And now if it's my person that's around me, I'm going to be present in that because I've practiced the alignment with soul so sacredly on my own that when they are involved in my now moments, I stay in soul for me. As a byproduct, they come. But because I've aligned so much with soul, I stay in soul whether they're triggering me or anybody else is getting me out of soul.
Joanne.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just made me think of something that actually I've only been noticing the last week or so. And I think it's really sort of relevant to this discussion I want to share with everybody. So I notice when I'm in, and I notice it more when I'm in bed and I'm sort of just being, whenever the mind kicks in, I notice that my whole body is tense.
Mm-hmm.
And like practice on letting my body sort of like my muscles relax. And I'll notice, not even joking, within 10 seconds, I'm tensed up again. And I'm thinking, man, like must have been living my whole life just a tense ball all the time. Because as soon as the mind energies kick in, I think it's like the body's natural almost response system, at least for mine, where my muscles just sort of tense up. So I want you guys to be observant of your own bodies and see if you guys are doing this too, that when your mind is acting up, if there's fears that come up, where are your muscles at? Are you tight? Are you tense? And when you are, just release it and watch how your like natural vibration naturally rises just from the releasing of the tension in the muscles.
Yeah, that's why I said soul is your natural state, right? So it's supposed to be really natural to just be, to where we even have a little bit of mind energy kick in, we can feel the tension. And that's why I said mine is exhausting. It's so exhausting. Even with people that are in mind, you kind of just can feel energy now. When you're interacting with family, you're interacting with friends, you can feel the energy of mind. And you can vibrate back into the energy of soul. It will require me to go in the room and just realign back to soul sometimes because I've been around a lot of people who are in mind. And we can. So this is where that shift is. So the scale of consciousness, I want you guys all to pull it up, but this is how the energy plays, and this is why you can shift yourself out of being in mind energy as your natural state. The energy that you vibrate in consistently, so it's not the 24 hours a day, it's majority of the time, wherever your energy is at. And so if you've taken upon yourself to be aligned with soul, you naturally will constantly raise your consciousness to neutrality and above, naturally. You can't just be in mind all day when you keep realigning, like Elizabeth said, where she could feel it in her body and she goes back to soul again. So whatever your natural state is where you stay, even if you were in mind a little bit. So Elizabeth's in mind, or I was in mind, because my natural state doesn't stay in mind anymore, I've now shifted myself to be able to always bring myself back. And you will too. You will never go backwards. All of the work that you're doing now is energetically putting you to a place where your natural state stays and continues to stay in that energy of soul. You might forget from time to time, and people that are in mind will remind you to go back in mind. Or when you're doing a lot of stuff, I've noticed if I'm doing so much, I could feel that same tension that you talked about, Elizabeth. So naturally, we will always be brought back into that energy of soul from our alignment. But it takes a lot of constant reshifting back into your natural state. But because this is who you are, it's very natural. We just forgot. We forgot to be soul. We were conditioned to think we were mind. So yeah, it's gonna feel painful. It will. To release all of those things that we were so attached to. And when we teeter back and forth from mind and soul, our bodies can feel when we're going back to mind. It's so powerful. The cool part is if you always choose soul and you constantly realign back to the present moment, you're not carrying all that anymore. Like, I feel so thankful and I have so much gratitude that I woke up in this journey, because if I can feel this energy of mine so much to where I need like a couple days to just woozah, I'm wondering how I survived that whole time in mind, right? How were we able to just be in mind all day, every day, people pleasing, focusing on what other people thought, never listening to our inner guidance system? And now that we're aligned with soul and we take in a little bit of mind, we're like, oh my gosh, this is so exhausting, but this is how I used to live before. So no, my loves, even though it's really, really, really hard for you to balance out of mind and back into soul, it's your natural state. It has always been your natural state. You were born as soul. You are soul. The more you align with soul, the more magnetic and the more abundance and love that you bring into your life and the physical. But the mind constantly wants you to feel the limitations, to go back into past and future, and clouds your alignment with what is in front of you. And that is that natural state of aligning with who you are. So if mind tells you, oh my gosh, this is so exhausting, mind is more exhausting. This isn't exhausting. This is your natural state. You were born as soul. Staying in mind and forgetting your soul, being in mind 24/7 is exhausting. Once you've aligned so much consistently and you feel this like overwhelming love for all, right? That unity consciousness, you get to this place where you're like, I never want to be anywhere else but soul. And so when you do the doing and you get into mind sometimes, you go back to soul again. You go back and you breathe in the now moment. You take all that energy that you were feeling in your body. You loosen up the tension and you're present again. This is where you're bringing yourself back to who you are as soul. And this is so huge for the journey. For you to watch this video, really, for you to watch this video, for you to be able to take in this information, it requires that really deep resonance of that I am soul and I'm not mine, and I will do whatever it takes to recognize who I truly am. And that's this journey, my love. This is that spiritual journey that everything else outside of you no longer matters. And I'm going to make my alignment with who I really am be my primary mode. Whatever it is I'm doing, whether I'm talking to my mom, I'm talking to a family member, I'm talking to a coworker, I'm soul, and I'm going to be present with all of the unfoldment. Talking to my twin flame, I am soul, and I'm going to be present in all of the unfoldment. And when you get to this place, my love, not only will everyone around you feel that energy of soul, but you get to be the soul that you are. And that is the energy where you and your twin flame are able to be in the same space because it is your soul. So I commend you for being able to consciously choose you and consciously be the soul that you are, which is your twin flame, my loves. More and more of these videos that we're sharing with you guys is more and more sharing the truth of being aligned with your twin flame. Aligned with soul is you aligning with your twin flame. And how is it that you said it last time, love? When you align with your soul, your twin flame can align with you. We're not doing it for them. We're doing it for us. But that is exactly what brings in your twin flame, is when you are constantly bringing yourself back to soul, because your twin flame is your soul. We love you guys. We love you so much. We hope you can feel this energy of soul, and we hope you can feel this gift that we share with all of you. This is beautiful, aligned, balanced energy we share and we pour onto you. And it requires constant reshifting out of mind and brought back to this balanced energy, where we can balance our twin flames permanently and where you can do the same. We love you. Beautiful soul. Have an amazing day. Bye, love.
Bye, love.